guy, the English guy, the old guy who's the most watched thing on YouTube. He talks about his life. He's done it in 11. He must be like 8 years old, and he's done it in 11 chapters and basically told his life. It's the most watched video on YouTube. He's just sitting at home, you know, and for what a lot of people consider boring, an old guy talking about his life. But you know, it's absolutely amazing.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
But do you think that past, because of the era of the internet and what's happening now, do you think that after the 80s and the 90s, that now there could be a going back to strong politics and stuff?
Absolutely, because and traditionally, the evidence that we've lived through is that the media or your newspaper or your news broadcast is supposed to reflect what people feel and what they're thinking. We've taken a poll.
Yeah.
We've done this, we've done that. And now you can hear the voice of dissent and see it and experience it for yourself without a third party, without an intermediary.
It don't have to come from CNN.
It don't have to come from CNN. It don't have to come from C-SPAN. It doesn't have to come from any of these, you know, huge conglomerates. It's a lot more personal now.
So where do you think the leaders can come from? I mean, who are your heroes now? I
Well,
mean, a lot of people would say you're their hero, but who are yours?
my parents, my children, Dave Chappelle, Muhammad Ali, Mumia. There's so many people. And this generation, you know, my heroes are people in the streets, you know, people who survive in poverty the best way that they know how. The people in New Orleans are heroic. The people in the ghettos are heroic. Children of Sudan are heroic. Hugo Chavez is heroic.
Yeah.
You know.
So do you think that these movements will revitalize? You think that?
I don't think that they're dead. I think that the reports of their death have been grossly exaggerated.
But someone like, you know, I mean, someone like Mumia back in the, you know, he was, we spoke to a guy called Michael Stark, he's the head of the campaigning as a death penalty. He was saying the problem with, you know, one of the problems with Mumia's case was that, you know, he was coming from an era where when he was speaking out and screaming in the courtroom and condemning the whole thing, there were movements behind it. And just as it happened to him, it was like he was screaming into an echo chamber.
Yeah.
You know, and it, you know, especially through the 80s, you know, it sort of was dying. You know, do you feel optimistic about it? Do you think?
I do. I think to feel discouraged is what they want, and I think there's a natural impulse to look around you, or to, especially if you look at television and the press in this country anyway, to just be like, oh my God, people are so. There are people who are uninformed, then the people who are informed are misinformed. So I think that that's a direct objective of the state, is to keep people discouraged and disappointed and depressed, because from that posture, you won't make any change.
Yeah.
You will accept
the status quo.
the status quo. You'll accept it. And the notion of resistance is being marketed as burdensome, in vain, isolating.
Yeah.
And it is, but not to the degree that they've made it.
Not to the degree it's not.
The
worth it.
burden
Yeah.
and the isolation can be successfully managed. It can be dealt with. It doesn't have to overwhelm you. And you can get through it. And imperative at this day and time. Because, I mean, as Noam Chomsky said, the system of government and policy that's being proposed at the present moment is harmful to the entire species. So it's not a black issue or a white issue. It is harmful to even those who propagate it.
Yeah.
To the people who champion it, it doesn't serve them. There's an Islamic parable that says you have two groups of people on a boat. On the top half of the boat, you have the believers. On the bottom half, you have the non-believers. The non-believers are thirsty, so they cut a hole in the boat to get water. They have to be stopped because they're sinking the ship, and it's a detriment to them. Yeah. There's a better system of getting water. Mm-hmm. So you have to show them a way. This is not how you get water because you're going to drown yourselves, and you're going to kill us. Mm-hmm. What you have proposed does not even benefit you. It doesn't benefit America to export war to the four corners of the globe. Not at all. The right thing is better for everybody. It's easier to do. I mean, it has challenges, but they can all be overcome. And once you overcome them, you become accustomed to overcoming them, so they don't become obstacles at all. It's the time for that. Other than that, we perish. All of us. There won't be no, like, I don't think there's gonna be some surviving ruling class and their minions. Everyone is at risk.
Well, it's unsustainable, isn't it?
It's completely unsustainable. It's completely unsustainable. They talk about terrorism and this one's a terrorist and the terrorist organizations over here, rather than saying if there are terrorists, why are they terrorists? It's not about America pursuing its foreign interests. It's the manner in which they pursue their foreign interests. It's the arrogance in which they pursue their foreign interests that is a problem. Because America will not tolerate other countries pursuing their foreign interests in the same manner. They never have.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's arrogance the way they're treating their own citizens too?
And then you can't stand on a moral pretext pointing fingers at the despots and leaders of the world, many of whom are your allies to begin with, and you have your own system of despotism and suppression. You can't point fingers at the leaders of the world, governments of the world, when you're doing the same thing, and in many instances, even worse.
Yeah.
You say what you want about Saddam Hussein. Everyone can see clearly that this country was in much better condition with him in power than it is now. Sure, everyone has a critique of any leader of any nation. Hugo Chavez has critics, and a lot of them are white. Fidel Castro, any leader.
Yeah.
They have policies that are good, and then policies that people don't agree with. But what about our own policy?
Yeah.
The way we treat our own citizens. You can't fix someone else's yard before you fix your own. And you can't spend the money of the people in your yard to fix up someone else's. It's neglectful.
Or to destroy their yard.
Or to destroy their yard.
We
or
ain't
to
fixing no
conquer their
one's
yard, you know?
Yeah.
It's like your neighbor lives next door to you. He beats his wife. He's not a good guy. You blow up his house. You kill him. Is that really the way to deal with that?
Especially when you're beating your wife.
Well, you may not even beat your wife. You may just have her locked in a dungeon.
Yeah.